Okay, Patrick, we're live on YouTube. You can begin when ready.
Thank you. Hey, Chris, should we go ahead and start, Chris?
Yes, please. Yes.
Okay. All right. Thank you for attending the Department of Planning and Development pre-bid conference for the RFP located at 5021 South Wabash. Good afternoon. I am Patrick Brutus. I am a project manager in the Southeast Planning Region. And this RFP was released March 30th. And today is our pre-bid conference. We are joined here today by Alderman Dowell, who will be listening in, as well as senior management from the Department Planning Bureau. The subject property, again located at 5021 South Wabash, is located in the Grant Boulevard community area. It is furthermore located in the 3rd Ward, the 47th and King Tax Increment Financing District, and is currently zoned RT4, which is residential 2-flat, townhouse, and multi-unit district. The size of the property is 11,795 square feet, which is covered over 2 lots, and the building is 1,500 square feet. This property lies within the Southeast Planning Region. Again, the zoning is RT4, and it is conveniently located steps away from the 51st Street commercial corridor. The summary of this project, this is a former 3rd Ward Streets and Sanitation Ward office. The site is improved. This building has been vacant for over 10 years, and it is currently orange rated. The department is seeking commercial, retail, office, non-for-profit initially sought not to residential. However, we are now entertaining, well, the department will review a residential use proposal for this project. Furthermore, the department will also consider a map amendment to accomplish the preferred uses if necessary. A map amendment is a zoning change. We are seeking the highest level of design excellence in the rehabilitation of this site per our department guidelines. And finally, the fair market value of this property is $90,000 in an appraisal that was procured by the city and dated December 31st, 2020. Here are some aerial views of the subject site. You will see that there is ample enough space in the rear of the property to construct a parking lot and or outdoor backyard space. It is currently mixed pave as well as vegetated. So you will see that the property is sizable enough for a number of outdoor uses in the back, compliant with the zoning. It fronts Wabash Avenue, as you see, and to the north of the subject property are residential units, as well as a church at the corner of 50th and Wabash. And to the south, there is a religious institutional use, Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses to the south, immediately adjacent to the property. Across the street from the property is the EduCare early education child-centered development located across the street here in blue. And that serves a number of different children and families in the 3rd Ward and beyond. The subject site, as I said previously, is located within the steps of an emerging commercial corridor where there are currently 30 active businesses between State Street and King Drive. The service provider of SSA 52, which is along this corridor, is the 51st Street Business Association. They are a city delegate agency and an active community development corporation working in this corridor to support the business uses within this third ward community of Grand Boulevard. As I stated previously, since the department is also entertaining commercial and retail uses, this we believe would complement the commercial corridor existing businesses and uses along 51st Street. So we are definitely looking at that use. Not certainly last, but also important, with the RFP of this property, the department is seeking to revitalize an underutilized real estate asset, as this property again has been vacant for over 10 years. We are looking for an adaptive reuse of a commercial or retail enterprise that may locate here. We're also seeking with that new, if commercial use is selected, a new business would be added to the commercial corridor, which would further stabilize this retail section. Obviously, we are looking at creating permanent jobs as well as temporary jobs through the construction phase. And finally, it's preservation of an orange rated building, as this property has historical elements dating back to its construction in the 1910s. Again, so today we have, we're holding our pre-bid conference. This RFP was released on March 30th. And also, the department will open the doors to the property next week on Wednesday, April 21st, from 11 to 12:30. I will be conducting a site visit so that interested developers and parties can actually come and tour the site and get a feel for what the interior conditions are, as well as the exterior conditions, and examine the fabric of the property and get a better idea of what the existing conditions are. The responses for this RFP will be due on June 30th. So you will have 3 months to put together a development proposal and a scheme that hopefully will blend right in with this community, whether it be residential or commercial. And please be reminded that the department will review all offers, all proposals. That concludes my presentation for the pre-bid conference. If there are any questions from any of the attendees and participants, I am open for Q&A. I see from Smith Basan, there is a question in the chat. What public financial incentives are contemplated to be made available? Okay, great question. For this site, it is located in a TIF district. So TIF is on the table. Also, it is in an eligible corridor for the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. And so that will also be something that we would entertain if the proposal is seeking that use, that incentive tool. So in this particular location, TIF is eligible, as well as NOF. Are there any more questions in the chat? Let's see.
Hi, this is Chris Chang, and I also want to add that if you look at the RFP document itself, the section 4 of the RFP, Finance and Development Incentives, which starts at page 36, sort of lists all of the development incentives that could be available for the project.
Thank you, Chris. We have another question in the chat. Do existing floor plans exist? I'm going to answer that live. Yes, thank you for your question, Paula Robinson. Existing floor plan does not exist per se, but we do have an appraisal report that does provide pictures of the interior conditions and the existing condition of the property. as well as, again, I am conducting a site tour next week for any and all interested parties, that you'll have a chance to come in, take pictures, and examine the interior as well as exterior conditions of the property yourself. So. All right, we have another question for the evaluation process. How will DPD grade or evaluate projects that are distinctly different? We'll answer that live. So Smitha Basan, good question. Thank you for asking. We will, we have an evaluation committee that is comprised of a number of different internal stakeholders at the department and city level that will be part of this internal review process. We will then come up with a rubric and we will score. And then the projects that are shortlisted will have a chance to come back, perhaps to a platform where we may have those developers present their projects to the community. So that's how we will look at the projects internally. We will be looking at, obviously, what characteristics make the project unique, and what projects obviously serve the public interest. And we will make a decision. Of course, we will also vet our decision or our finalists with the Alderman's office and community organizations as need be. We have some more questions. Okay. Paula Robinson is asking, from exterior walk around, we see a basement. Is there an attic area? There is no attic. It's a one floor, one story property. There is a basement, but the interior is a one story building, 1,500 square feet above ground. Anonymous attendee is asking, what kinds of collaborations is the department looking to see on this type of project response? In all of our RFPs and that the department has released, we are looking to increase the opportunities for wealth building in the local geographies of where these RFPs are being sought and proposed and released. And so we're not necessarily requiring that there are partnerships or joint ventures be formed for our consideration of these projects, but where necessary, collaborations, and partnerships being formed to provide a robust, energetic design and development team, we encourage that. But it's not necessarily a requirement. Again, the main thing that we're looking for in all of our requests for proposals on the south and west sides are for wealth building opportunities that are in alignment with the city's goals for MBE, WBE participation, as well as those outlined in the Invest Southwest initiative. Okay, let's keep moving. Mr. or Miss Abani Tankersley is asking, is there a particular type of project that the alderman or the community is looking for? After some engagement, not heavy engagement, but this property has been vacant for over 10 years. It does resemble a residential property. It's zoned in the RT4. The department initially and generally is looking for a retail use, commercial use. We are also going to entertain residential offers, and we may end up choosing, either one, retail, commercial, or residential. But we're looking really more for a nice adaptive reuse that will serve the public interest and blend in well with the community in and around this vicinity. But all the goals and objectives are outlined in the RFP document. Paula Robinson has asked, may we request a copy of the appraisal directly through me? Chris, you want to answer that question? Are we able to provide a copy of the appraisal for interested parties?
Well, actually, yeah, sure. Yeah, this is Chris. So the copy of the appraisal is actually on the Invest Southwest website.
Okay.
If you look at the RFP site, there's a couple documents that are attached to the RFP document, and appraisal is one of them. And we also just uploaded some of the frequently asked questions and answers, which might be helpful. And we will update that question and answer sheet after this this pre-bid conference to update and include all of the questions and answers that we provide and we get today.
Thank
So
you,
yes, it
Chris.
is available online.
Okay. All right. So folks, you heard that the appraisal is available online at our website, the one that you used to register for this pre-bid conference today. Ebony Tankersley has asked, is there an RSVP process to visit the site? We will email all of the attendees today an email reminder for next week. So you'll get the information next week via email, or you'll get the information for next week's tour via email. So you don't need to necessarily RSVP. We have your emails now, and we'll send it out to everyone who wants to come. All right, Ms. Glom, Julie's Glom says, when you say commercial, does that include offices? Yes, office use is also something that we're looking for, or that we would entertain. It's called for in the RFP, so that is also a use that is able to be considered. Yes. Okay, hold on. I don't see any more questions in the chat. Are there any questions in the chat? I don't see any more. Okay, here's one that just popped up. Let me see. Okay. Yes, you have a question, Ebony Tankersley? If you want to ask that question, go ahead and type it up in the chat. All right, I see. Okay, all right. All right, we'll wait for your question. All right, how do we get a letter of an interest if we want to use the NOF? Is that your question? How do we get a letter of interest if we want to use NOF? We have Mary Kuhn, who is here from our business development division, who is a project manager in the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund program. Mary, do you want to answer that question in the chat? The question is.
Sure.
Yep.
So we have two different tracks for the NOF program. We have the small NOF track and the large NOF track. This address is in the qualified investment area, which is eligible for the large NOF grant. I could put the email, there's an email address for the large grants, and I can put that in the chat. Or I guess maybe I should put that in the Q&A. I don't know that they use a letter of interest. It's managed separately from the small NOF, but you could email them to talk to them about the application process for the NOF.
Thanks, Mary. Okay. All right. Ebony Tankersley is satisfied with that answer. Thank you. All right. All right. Are there any more questions? Are there any more questions or comments? Okay, hearing none. We'll leave it open till 2:30 or 2:25 or so, 2 minutes or so, 2 or 3 more minutes, and then we'll wrap this session. And we'll leave it open for anyone who may want to type in a question. Okay, thank you, Smith of Basan, for your question. When will first cut decisions be made? Well, the RFP closes June 30th, and at that time, responses will be due by 4 p.m. To City Hall. And shortly thereafter, in the month of July, we will begin to examine those proposals, start a review process internally, as I stated before, with our evaluation committee. And then depending on the number of responses that we get for this project, which we are very excited about because this is a redevelopment opportunity of a vacant building that's been there for over 10 years. And we want to make sure that we restore this property to its best and highest best use. The first cut decisions, depending again on how many responses will be made sometime during that first 45-day period. And again, shortlisted proposals will be advanced through our next round. Will an attendee list for this meeting be shared? Yes, we can do that via email, I believe. But yes, an attendee list for this meeting will be made available. Okay, one more question here from Smith to Basan. With that, is it expected that work would start Q1 and Q2 or 2022? So it's a very good question. The property must obviously be conveyed over to the selected respondent, and that is a legislative process. So in all likelihood, being that if we get through final decision by August or September, early September at the earliest, I would anticipate the legislative process would begin at that time. We would have to go to the Community Development Commission and City Council to designate a developer and convey the property over. And that most likely could take about at least 3 months at the quick end and potentially 4 to 6. So yes, on the slow end. So more than likely, this development would begin reconstruction or construction in the 2022 first quarter year. Yes, that is probably a more likely timeline. Okay. I don't see any more questions. Are there any more questions in the chat? Okay, I think we answered that. Done. Okay. All right, let me see. All right, so again, so this site, preservation of an orange rated building. We're looking for an adaptive reuse for housing, commercial, retail, not-for-profit, office. The department will assist and support a map amendment, which is a zoning change if one is required to fit the commercial proposal. This site is also located in a existing TIF district. As well, it is located within a qualified investment area for the Neighborhood Opportunity Fund. So there are resources that the proposal could entertain. The department will review all responses, and we will make a selection hopefully by August or September. I think there's something on here. And if there are no more questions, we thank you for your attendance and participation here today at the 5021 South Wabash RFP pre-bid conference. And we will send out a invite and notification for a walkthrough site visit of the property next Wednesday, which will be held at 11 a.m. To 12:30 p.m. So we'll keep it open for 90 minutes, and developers and interested parties will have an opportunity to inspect the site and grounds, as well as conduct their own assessment of the interior conditions, first floor as well as the lower level. And we thank you all for coming today, to spending some time with us at Department of Planning. Thank you, and have a great afternoon.
Thanks, Patrick.
All right, thanks, Mary. All right,